What's the most hurtful thing your family said about your partner behind your back? I thought Kai was perfect for me. We met in my graduate program, where his quiet intelligence and dry humor balanced my overthinking tendencies. After 2 years together, I finally brought him home for Thanksgiving. The dinner went well, I thought. Kai complimented Mom's cooking, discussed sports with Dad, and patiently answered my aunt's invasive questions. When we left, my parents hugged him goodbye and told him to come back soon. I was floating. Finally, my family approved of someone I loved. 2 days later, I stopped by the house to pick up some old textbooks. As I approached the kitchen, I heard familiar voices and froze. My stomach dropped. They were talking about Kai. "He's using her," Mom said matter-of-factly. "Pretty boys like that don't stay with girls like our daughter long-term. Look at him, then look at her. He's way out of her league." My sister chimed in about how desperate I acted around him, how embarrassing it was. My aunt whispered about other girls. Dad laughed about my delusions. "When he leaves her, and he will, maybe she'll finally see herself realistically," Mom concluded. I stood frozen in the hallway, tears streaming down my face. Everything they said echoed my deepest insecurities, the ones I'd confided to them during vulnerable moments over the years. That night, I became distant with Kai. I analyzed every interaction, searching for signs they were right. When he checked his phone, was he texting other girls? When he didn't immediately respond to my jokes, was he planning his exit strategy? I couldn't tell him what I'd heard. How do you explain that your family thinks you're too ugly, too desperate, too pathetic to deserve love? Instead, I started sabotaging us. I picked fights over nothing. I accused him of flirting with classmates. I became the desperate, clingy girlfriend my family had described. During our final fight, Kai said he didn't know what had happened to me, that I used to trust him. He was right. My family's poison had infected everything good between us. After he left, I went straight to my parents' house. Mom barely looked up from her magazine when she said they'd heard about Kai and weren't surprised it didn't work out. My sister smiled, claiming they'd tried to warn me subtly because they could see he wasn't serious. The room went silent when I demanded to know exactly what they'd said. Finally, Mom sighed and told me I needed to be realistic about my options. Dad added that Kai was clearly out of my league. I stared at them. These people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. "You destroyed the best thing in my life," I whispered. My sister snapped back that they didn't destroy anything, that he was going to leave anyway. But I knew a different truth. Kai had loved me exactly as I was. It was my family who couldn't see my worth. I left that day and went no contact with all of them. 6 months later, I ran into Kai at a coffee shop. My heart raced as I approached his table and told him I owed him an explanation. I told him everything, how their words had poisoned my thoughts, how I'd let their cruelty destroy my trust, how sorry I was for pushing him away. He listened silently, then reached across the table and took my hand. He'd known something was wrong but hadn't known what. He apologized that my family had made me believe I wasn't worth loving. We talked for hours that day. 3 months later, he moved in with me. Last week, he proposed. My family wasn't invited to the engagement party. They never will be.